Today I'm going to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Yamatai. There's a lot of stuff going into Yamatai. I'm not going to try to explain how it all works, but I'm going to focus on my favorite thing, which by far is the turn order mechanism. I love it when games have a clever turn order mechanism that doesn't just go clockwise around the table. And over time as a designer, I've come to appreciate how clockwise is pretty simple. Players don't have to think about it, just one player after another. I like that. But if a game is going to have rounds, I really like when it has a different turn order mechanism. One of my favorites is Terra Mystica. But Yamatai is up there with its turn order mechanism. Basically how it works, there are 10 tiles in the game, at least in the 4 or 5 player game we played the max player count. And there are 10 tiles. Each of those tiles is numbered 1 through 10, 1 being the player who would go first if they picked that tile, 10 being the last. And on each of those tiles is something that you get right away. And it's usually an action. I don't think, there might be 1 or 2 that are just something you gain to your supply, but most of them are actions that you take. During the turn order phase, players take turns selecting one of 5 face-up tiles, and the others are face down. It was a 4-player game, I remember now, because there's always 1 tile left over, and that tile would slide over, and then you'd reveal 4 from the face down stack. So you basically at the beginning of the game you randomize all 10 of the tiles. All 10 tiles. You flip 5 face up, and they're numbered something 1 through 10, but you don't know. It could be. It is random, and your turn order decision is based on the balance between how early do you want to go in turn order and how powerful are the actions. And I really like the variability of it too, because you might have numbers like 1, 2, 8, 9, 10. And so you might be able to pick that number 8 and be the, well, I guess that isn't a great example. Basically, you might be able to go second or third while choosing a really high number and therefore a much more powerful action than the players who chose to go first, but because they took the 1 or the 2 tiles as the tiles available, they have a much weaker action. So I really like that decision point. Unlike, say, I'll use one of my games, Viticulture. In Viticulture, the turn order track is always the same, so it's never variable. The variability is based on what other players choose, but the 2 action always does the same, like the second player always does the same thing. Whereas in this game, it's completely variable. It's a streamlined mechanism. I don't have much more to say about it. It's just all these tiles with numbers and actions on them, and they come out in a variable and somewhat random order. If you have a game that has a turn order mechanism that you really admire and that you really have fun with, I'd love to hear about that in the comments. Or if you have a favorite game mechanism in Yamatai, I'd love to hear about that as well. Thanks.